Danny kind of decided to do a little skit where he had D&D, he had the main guy from Solo Leveling, and all that come back so he could teach his players a lesson. I will warn you that there's going to be some spoilers. I mean, I won't go into a lot of detail or anything, but it's still going to be some spoilers. Mostly just because I like most people, I saw the trailer and everything, and I saw it come out, and then I went and binged it. And then I found the anime and read all of that. Looks like they're gonna have like a season 2, but I'm not gonna bother with that. Because now I'm waiting for my season 2 of the manga. It doesn't seem that much longer, it's not gonna be much longer. Might be a little bit, well, it's kind of picking up right now. Because he's fighting everybody, but it's gotta clean up the mess. Got a few stragglers to clean up. But my main thoughts and everything, why I made this was because Danny Phantom was, he made his video about it and everything, and I was in D&D, and then I really thought about it, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, he can travel through portals, and he goes through different worlds and everything, so duh, he could totally go into real life, and go into the D&D characters in their world, and kill all of them. And he was also shadowing 2 later, and then I also flirted a little bit in the short with him, because, well, I was like, my standards are pretty high. Mostly just because of fantasy, man. They have spoiled me greatly. And like normal in the beginning and everything, like, he ugly. He ugly. And then he become hottie. It's real annoying though that you have to bear through it though until they get hot. Because really, I started it, and then I started the anime, and then I stopped it. And then I went and found the manga and started reading that, and then I was like, oh, he gets hot. So I jumped back and finished watching the anime, and then I jumped back to the to find out the ending through the manga. It wasn't as bad or as like painfully as slow as I felt Tokyo Ghoul was. But they were very both similar in the beginning, because they were like, you literally had to basically die and then you become hot. I'm like, okay, I agree with this logic. It's beautiful. But more than the skin and everything, I was flirting with him and everything, because I was like, when we compare you to your child, which is the main spoiler, because, like, I didn't think he was gonna make it. I was real sad, and I was real scared, and I was like, he's the main character, he kind of has to, but then I was like, no, he doesn't. Apparently not in these stories. In these stories, even the main characters can die, so I was real sad, and I was real scared that he would die, but he survived. He made it through. Because I was like pretty confident already with him, especially since I saw him in chapters and everything like that. And then, but I was able to regain a little bit of hope, because I was like, "There's a next arrow button to the next page. Gonna keep me going." Got to stop and cry. He almost died. Yeah, I got real invested in it. You don't really see much of him in the second season. I call it a second season, or it's gonna be more of just like last season. But just with his son and everything. It already started out pretty cool. But yeah, but his father's pretty absent. Well, he seems like he's like completely out of the picture, but he's not. But yeah, he's traveling as a shadow merc and everything. And that was also like, I'm pretty sure, because he said like Ignis, right? Yeah. He was like Rise, and then he said the name and everything. So I was like, how far have you read all the manga? Because his little boy says the same crap and is literally the heir. But you're like, I know it's the dad, but like, he also literally like says basically the same thing too when he's watching over his son. because he's got that whole secretly training and sealing his kid's powers type thing. So, I'm real impatient about that, but I'm real happy with. And it's only because it's only 33 chapters with this kid. It's gonna be a lot more, so it's probably at least gonna be 50. They could probably definitely make it to 100, maybe 200 chapters with this kid. Especially since he's gone out and wiped out all the other monarchs and all of that. But now we got aliens to worry about. And mind control, and the fact that they're taking over the human race, and that they are already in the head, and that they are already in the hunter's base. And he's becoming like a rising star. So he's kind of the enemy. But he mostly just ended up hiring them anyway to kill his dad. And all of that, so. Oh crap. If I have this leaning against the couch, can you hear me? Well, its volume's probably pretty low. Sorry about that. That's more spoilers than I thought I was going to reveal. But yeah, as for Sweet and Dramatic and like, he looks like his dad, but so I guess I could say they did a good job on making him look like just like his dad without looking just like his dad, without being his dad, and them not recycling the same character and being able to tell the difference, especially since you're like, you have them in the same picture, so they can't look identical. And they did a real nice job with his glow up. He's pretty now. Now I think about him, the more he rises in my head levels. I also, to be fair, I didn't have as high of hopes or anything for solo living. But I was like, I kind of have to. And that was so I was also like more hesitant. I was like, nah. Like, I saw the intro and I was like, I'm bored. I'm gonna go check out the manga to see if this actually gets interesting or not, and then come back to it. Was especially since because I had been reading a ton of necromancy. It's like we got the Necromancer, like, yeah, a bunch of necromancy, and most of them have just necromancy in the titles. And I was like, well, it doesn't have it in the title, but that's literally all this is. So, what are we doing here? But I was like, I'm also right now just reading all of it. All of it I can find. So I was like, kind of getting tired of it, but maybe a little bit more. Give it my story, definitely worth it. Plus, it's like longer and actually has like more of an ending, and it's always interesting and keeps going and all of that. So, and it's none of the, not really. Other ones were mostly just repeating and very similar, and I was like, I'm basically just reading the same story over and over again with no real difference. And so that's really how I felt with those. But his was a lot different. He actually, like, it wasn't just like I got the power down, like, already overpowered. He was actually still, like, rising through the ranks and all of that, so. And he had, like, real challenges, like, really big challenges. And you're like, he was really injured and, like, always getting hurt and stuff like that. And then, like, later, you really think he's gone, so. It's very good. But yeah. And then I think I was going to be also more disappointed because I think at that point, I must have already seen, started a little bit of the revenge. So, was it the sage? No, it's, the mage becomes, or maybe it was sage. No, I think it was mage. The mage becomes a lich. And then now I've also been bored, so I started a little bit of one where a little bit more. I liked it a little bit more because this new manga I'm reading, I like a little bit more because he can only raise skeletons, and it's also in the name. Yeah, he's a necromancer, but he can only raise skeletons, and he can't advance. He can't advance his levels and everything. And then also, it's more disappointing. And unlike other stories, because they're like, oh, they're always like saying that it's like a lesser skill, and they're always like, they always have this misconception. They're like, oh, it's going to be like such a weak skill, and they didn't do that at all. And in fact, they were like, no, like some of the strongest guys and like the number guy in the world and everything is a necromancer. But I am the lowest, and I can only summon the lowest level, like level D or level F, depending on the story's ranking normally. I think it's F. Yeah, because the more recent development was like E or D. Anyway, so yeah, so he's able to. He very slowly ranks up, except he doesn't actually like rank up or level up. Like basically, no matter what he does, there's starting to be a little bit of a slow progression where he's unlocking some more skills, but it's going to be a very slow journey. But it's pretty interesting. And then also, he teaches and trains his skeletons, even though they're unable to level up, just like him. They try their hardest. That's quite sweet and admirable. Because most of the time you're like, oh, you're handed to you, so you're like, don't really have much work or anything effort to do. And I kind of felt the same way after in solo leveling, especially at the beginning, and for a lot of it, you're like, yeah, it just says rise, and then everybody pops up. And he doesn't have to do anything, he doesn't have to work hard, he doesn't have to really control them or direct them, he doesn't have to do anything. Like, he just gets to sit back and relax if he wanted to. Like, and no involvement. It's all just his overpowered skill doing all the work, and he doesn't do anything. Basically, fighting was still interesting, but that was kind of happening, so I very quickly tried to just skim through all of it after that because I was bored. And I was like, yeah, you're fighting. I got it. Move on. Fighting. Yep. Fighting. I don't care. I don't care. Doing something new. I did a lot of times, so it did take me a long time to get through all of the episodes, but all of the chapters and all of that. But yeah. So that's something I'm working on, but I'm kind of like bored, so I'll touch it here and there. And then right now I'm more of not really angry or anything or caring a lot about adventure, and I'm like, there's a few cute and sweet stories about romance, but for the most part, they start out with violence and like revenge, and I'm mostly just trying to find more yandere and like obsessive. And the newest one's like a hate to love story. Yeah, it was Neil, Your Highness, basically, except